To me, the congressman outside our shelter had no idea what he was asking. We knew why he had been blocked at the gate. Inside, hundreds of children waited, studied, cried, called home, went to school and the dentist, learned to paint and play chess. Many had suffered trauma and were fleeing those who did them harm. What we did as a shelter was done carefully. No one just entered our building. I scanned my ID at the security door, turned the corner, and stood before a row of kids in folding chairs. They were waiting for the nurse. "Are you all ready for shots?" The one girl was stoic, the half-dozen boys not as much. "They say we'll get 9, said a boy with excited eyes. "They don't hurt," I replied, "except for this one," and I pointed to the side of my neck. All the boys' eyes got bigger, but the sole girl giggled. "There are no neck shots, you dummies." They had taken Journey's best done in the bravery of youth, but for all that, they were still kids. I'd got them. An embarrassed laughter erupted. The group had been dropped off the previous night. Every evening, the ice vans delivered new children, and I looked forward each morning to bantering and making the situation less intimidating. "What time did you get in?" "They didn't tell us," replied the girl. "But everyone was asleep. We didn't know where we were going." "Did you all have breakfast?" "Yes. The tortillas taste funny." "We don't make them by hand like your mom, but the food is good. You'll like it." The boy who seemed oldest, maybe 16, jumped into the conversation. "I don't want to be here. I'm just going to my dad." I could tell he had been crying. "Mijo, everyone cries when they get here, and they all cry when they leave. You'll have fun. Parents take the least work for us, but there is a lot to do. My friend told me that his friend was going to his mom and got out in 1 day." "Exaggeration," said the girl. "You're in someone else's country? It's not that easy." I told the group that after the nurse, they would meet their caseworker and she or he will let them call home. This is the last part of your journey. Patience. Patience would come around the 4th day. Until then, that specific virtue would take a backseat to frustration, tears, and the anxious vigilance appropriate to feeling trapped. I stopped in across the hall and entered the medical isolation room. One of the case managers, a 23-year-old spitfire of a woman, sat by the sick bed of our client, and I placed my chair next to her. Osby, a diminutive 12-year-old, had arrived months earlier with his brother, Ezequias. The sibling had now been released, leaving Osby behind. Every Wednesday, the supervisor from the Office of Refugee Resettlement stopped by and reviewed the status of every child in the shelter. Each case manager presented the extensive paperwork gathered thus far, client by client. When it came to Osby's brother, the new ORR supervisor had said it wasn't possible to retain a child cleared for exit, even if that meant leaving a sibling behind. "Didn't the hospital say that Osby could travel after the tests?" "Yes, they did," said the case manager. "But Ellen, that new ORR lady, won't let him go. His parents hesitated when the hospital asked to put a tube in Osby's heart. She said that means they're not safe. She wants a social worker to see them." "Híjole, you get a scary call asking to do weird things to your kid. Who doesn't ask questions?" "Well, she also said the parents have 4 kids in one house and that's enough. He has to live with his married brother." We just looked at each other. "We were 9 at my house," she added. "I wish the old ORR guy would come back. We need his New York street sense." Osby was tiny, but an excellent soccer player, quick in school and a pure stoic. Since leaving 3rd grade, he had managed all the farming on his grandparents' plot in Guatemala. He and Ezequias spent 3 weeks making their way to the U.S. border, and Osby began suffering dizzy spells on the buses. Since arriving at the shelter, he had been hospitalized twice. Each stay involved injections, tubes, a variety of invasive tests, and one small surgery. Yet, no one had seen Osby cry or complain, even as nurses pushed tubes down his throat. Whenever we asked how he felt, his only answer was, "Bien."